So I'm back again, y'all. This is Lucky with Grounded and Galactic. And I left off with a little 11:11. I wanted to know if there are others that see 11:11 frequently, or 333, or 999-777-222. You know what I'm saying. Because it just seems like I'm seeing those numbers more and more, and I don't know if it's because I'm thinking about them more and more. It's kind of like how if you see a car that you like, and then you see that car everywhere, you know what I mean? So I was just inquiring, do you see the signs? Are they out there really? Or is it something that we make up in our head and it becomes a thing? These are the questions that I'd be having. I'd be just sitting around kind of pondering, you know what I'm saying? And I think they're relevant questions, actually. Because if we talk about it, maybe we can see the pattern. We can see what's happening. We can find what the algorithm is. I'm very open. I was raised in the Midwest, Kansas City, Missouri, to be exact. That's where I was born. And when I was about 10 or 11, I moved to Orlando, Florida. And I stayed in Orlando till I was 17. That's how old I was when I first got married. And before I left, and my husband, my ex-husband, he was in the military, and we went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. I don't know if anybody, is out there in Fort Leonard Wood, St. Roberts, Missouri, but shout out to y'all. And before I left to go to Missouri, I had a dream. And it was of a German street sign I saw. And a whole scenario played out in that dream. And I told my mom about it. And she encouraged me. She did not, look at me crazy or be like, girl, what you talking about, German? Everybody's learning Spanish at this time, and I was living in Florida, so it was all about Spanish. But my mom didn't discourage me, so she went out and she got one of those Berlitz language books, and she got me like some like cardboard paper and stuff like that, and magazines, and she encouraged me to do a vision board without me even knowing it was a vision board. I mean, vision boards weren't popular at this time in the early 90s, but my mom did that. And so when my husband joined the military, we went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and we stayed there for 3 years. And then we went to Schweinfurt, Germany. And Schweinfurt was the name of the town that I saw in my dream. And we lived in a place right outside of Schweinfurt. When we first got there, it was called BK, or Bad Kids Again. And when they told us that we had a choice to live off post, to live on the economy. I was like, yeah, we can live amongst the German people. So, so we went to the first place that they offered us that was off post, and it was like way off in the boondocks, and I was like, and it was like something out of a Freddy Krueger movie or a Jason movie. It was like, kill her, Barbie. I was like, nah. So, so we went to the second place, and the name, the address didn't ring a bell to me at the time, but it was 54 Schlimmreisenstrasse. And went to that flat, and I loved it. It was great. It had a marble bathroom. It had features that we didn't really see commonly in the United States, so I really loved it. So I was I told, we took that flat, and I was telling my mom, I was like, yeah, Mom, this is my new address, blah, blah, blah. And she actually didn't say anything at the time. She sent me a package. And in that package was what I had written down when I was 12, 13 years old, 54 Schlimmreisenstrasse. That is what I saw when I was a kid. And my mom sent it to me instead of telling me what she knew already. And that stayed with me for so long. And from then, my spidey sensors were going off, because I was like, how is that possible that I saw something in a dream and here it is in my face? 10 years later, 9 years later. It was eye-opening. Changed my life. For the better and for the worse at that time, but for the better now. I had to share that experience because it was like a sign, And it's like, if we can identify the signs, and it's not something that people are special. We all have the same abilities, but we're not taught how to activate them. We're not taught how to strengthen them, and they are muscles. You can strengthen them. You can use it as a superpower, really. I'm very sensitive. I am an empath. I remember the first time that I touched someone and I got a flash of something. And I didn't know what it was, and I was kind of scared. And I talked to my mom, and she was like, play with it. She said, experiment with it. See where it takes you. And I remember one time I was living in Atlanta. I'm not going to say any names, but I was working for a security company, and I was working in a high-rise building downtown Atlanta. And I had a coworker who was cheating on her husband, and with someone who worked at the job with us. And they were sneaking around and everything, and me and this particular coworker, we didn't really get along. We weren't friends. She was doing her thing and I was doing mine. And one day she came to me and she was like, "Hey, Kina, what do you think about this?" She's telling me that she planned on going on a trip with one of her the gentleman loosely that she was dealing with at the job. She was like, "What do you think about that?" And I told her, "Don't do it. Don't go." She said, I said, "You're gonna regret it." And needless to say, she went. And I got a call telling me that she had been in an accident and that she needed me to contact her husband to let him know that she was in an accident hours away from her home, and he thought she was with me. And I'd never hung out with this girl ever, but she used my name to get away. And she ended up badly hurt, badly injured. I'm not going to discuss her injuries, but yeah. Later on, she came to me and she asked me, "How did you know?" And I could only tell her, how do we know the things that we know? All I could tell her that it didn't come from me. And we parted ways and never spoke again. I could tell you thousands of stories that I've had that have changed my life. The signs have always been there. And I say that to say this: pay attention. Follow your gut. Don't believe everything that's told to you. Sometimes you just know things. And it's okay. I promise you, it's okay. As we come on this journey with Grounded and Galactic, we're going to be talking about things that people might be afraid to talk about, may not believe are true or real. That's okay. Because the people who have gone through those things, they don't have to believe. They know. And if there's one thing that I know, is that the universe does not need us to believe for it to do its job. The universe does not care one bit if we believe, but it does care about how we feel. Because our feelings is what brings things into fruition. Our feelings is what brings things into reality. Let's talk about it. Grounded and Galactic. Like and subscribe.